The first thing I'm going to do is announce that we're live on Facebook. Let everybody know that we're up and running. Okay, and if you want to get the links out to anybody at the bottom of the screen, kind of right of center, do you see where it says live discussion? You there? Nope, I may have lost him. Okay, well, I'm going to see who all is with me. We'll wait for Mr. Loudermilk to come back. Alright, if you are with me and can hear me, you can let me know a number of ways.
Sorry about that.
Oh, you're fine.
I got booted for some reason.
Yeah, I saw that. Not sure what the deal is.
What were you saying about the link?
If you look to the bottom right of the screen, it should say live discussion, and then underneath it, it says links. Do you see that?
No, sir.
Okay, then that may just be for me.
Okay. I can do the chat. I can see that.
Okay.
Make sure I'm in there.
I'm trying to fit both of these links into the Facebook message. We'll see how that goes. Take it easy. Alright.
Is there anybody in the Hangout?
I believe right now it may just be you and myself. Yeah, I sent the link out to all of my friends on here, and then I let everybody know on Facebook as well. So tonight we'll be discussing a wide range of topics. I've got a guest here with me, obviously, and someone who, maybe more than a guest, someone who might be helping me or doing these videos in the future, Mr. Michael Loudermilk. He'll be running for the congressional seat in the 3rd District of Ohio. But before we get to Mr. Loudermilk, I want to run over some of the topics as to why people were requesting another video tonight. First, let me disclaim that I do have part with numerous different patriot organizations and protest rally organizations, but when I do these videos, I'm only speaking for myself. So I do not speak on behalf of any of the other groups. These videos are for me, and they go out to the groups, but they are one view of someone who is a member of those groups. So for whatever that is worth. Tonight we'll be talking about some of the more breaking news: ISIS beheading an American. As I said, we'll be talking to Mr. Loudermilk. We want to see if our friends from Overpasses are with us. There's a lawsuit in Texas right now overpasses of America versus the Texas law enforcement. They infringed on their right to free speech. So we all kind of saw that coming. The overpass protesters are fierce people. They're fierce protesters. They're fiercely loyal to the cause of this country, and they're not going to take cops showing up and trying to intimidate them very easily. I also wanted to get to what I didn't get to last night: Israel versus Gaza, and we have numerous other subject matter here as well. Militia, Ferguson. We talked about our jobs last night and wanted to touch on that again tonight if possible. The border and many more things, I'm sure, especially as we get into the night and people start to throw out suggestions like they did last night. So I will do the rounds here and see if we are already being followed on YouTube, and I will do my best to monitor the chat on YouTube as well as the chat on the Google Hangouts, and then the message board and private message on Facebook as well. So right. Right, let's see. Nobody yet. So it looks like we're just getting started. We're going to talk about gun rights. We're going to talk about how the Second Amendment is being infringed everywhere. We're going to talk about the freedom of assembly being stifled in Ferguson. We got quite a few things to get into. So what I'd like to wait though until we have a little bit more people in. I sent out invitations to many places. Last night the video was kind of just an impromptu video, and it wasn't really planned. So I didn't get a chance to advertise it or anything. I could see your lips moving, but I didn't hear you. Say something again. Oh, you muted your mic. I see.
I just want to see if it worked.
Yeah. Yeah, that worked. So I had missed a couple of things last night because we went long because I'm so long-winded, and I missed the Israel-Gaza conflict. We didn't even get a chance to get into that. Like I said, last night before I left, the viewership just kept going up, and I kind of didn't want to quit, but everyone was also pretty tired. We had been on there for 2 hours, so we were ready to call it quits.
You want a live video discussion? Yeah. I'm get my policies out.
I like that. Last night before I left, the viewership just kept going.
All right.
And I didn't want to quit, but everyone was also pretty tired. We had been on there for 2 hours. Yeah, that's the YouTube link. I'm impressed that it runs as quickly as it does, to be honest.
The stream that I'm on, 1 second delay.
Huh.
I don't think I like it.
What's that, Mike?
I'm looking at us on both computers, and it's tripping me out.
I was going to introduce you as the man with the best dress shoes in Columbus.
I'll take that.
Those were definitely some snazzy shoes.
Thank you.
I like them.
My husband, I'm gonna just be honest. My husband thanks you because it was more him than it was me. But
Yeah.
I make it look.
He's got great taste.
I was just gonna say he's got some pretty good taste, man.
Giving you props in there, hear it? He said thank you.
Yeah, man.
What'd you say, Jeremy?
I said, yeah, man.
No, you don't have to come over here. All right, I'm just gonna watch the YouTube one and not the Hangout one. It's too much.
Well, the Hangout one is going to be where we'll be able to keep a consistent conversation because the YouTube one has such a long delay.
Yeah, that's the main one I'm on here. I'll just have that one on the side.
Okay.
See, we got 4 people watching.
Yeah, I can see the build up. We're starting to get a little bit of an audience, and I think people were interested to hear what you have to say. I think they're interested to hear about Ferguson, and anytime we've got people that are willing to be engaged and not just sit and complain in a circle with them and their friends, they're probably going to come back. They're probably going to get their friends, things like that, because this is also something where they can dialogue with us, and it's all live on the spot. So
Might be rocky the first couple times, but after that it should be good.
well, once we get enough people, we get a few more people in, I'll go ahead and introduce you and let you run away with it.
Okay.
And then while you're doing that, I think I'll be getting a bite to eat, so I'll mute my microphone.
All right.
All this came down while I was getting ready to eat dinner.
I made sure I ate before.
Yeah, wise man.
Yeah, that was really hearty too. Very filling.
Don't count me out yet.
All right. Oh, you might want salt and pepper. Let me grab it.
I'll grab some water real quick.
All right.
Maybe you got a soda. Or
Actually, will you grab me a water?
Are there any more noodles? Oh, yeah. Yes. And wood for that.
I'm excited to get started. We've got quite a few things to discuss. I've got the Ferguson coverage happening right now. And I know there's numerous sources on that too, so as things get crazy, we'll be able to talk about that. Boy, they've not given any damn about the fact that those are journalists. I mean, they've arrested people by the bucket load.
74 last night.
Yeah, it was something like over 70 people were arrested last night total.
I heard 74, but I also heard 78 earlier this morning. So I'm thinking the 78 was probably right. And then they tried to bring it down a little bit.
Yeah, I had seen somebody else was shot and killed.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Another journalist.
Seems as though there is some organized powers that be that want this to happen.
There we go.
I mean, when you think about it, it kind of makes sense. But I don't want to be a conspirator, I don't want to talk about conspiracies. We could really get into a whole nother area.
Well, I mean, they're saying it over the open airways too, that all the leaders down there are saying somebody's doing this on purpose. There's provocateurs in the crowd, and Uh, you know, everyone. Well, you can never tell if people are just trying to blame other people or what the deal is.
I mean,
And
I
the
don't.
coverage has
I
been
did.
so shoddy.
I did research one time on 7 families. I won't say their names, but these 7 families have been around since 1600s. They have the old money, and when I say old money, we're talking about people that are billionaires, beyond billionaires, and run things, like diamond mines and Sierra Leone and oil industries in the United States. Those people, they may be able to gain from. They've taken all they can from this country basically, and they devastated it. So why not now use this as their little playground or their jump off to another place? I don't know, a place like China or India that has over 1 billion people in population. Just one of the things that make you wonder.
Yeah, I've wondered myself about kind of the legitimacy of it's commonly referred to as the six families, Rothschilds, all of those guys.
Right.
So
Those are them.
yeah. All right. Well, I guess we'll get started. We had a couple more people join in, and hopefully we'll get a few more. So I want to say once again, and we have a lot of support from people as well. FPRN.com, FPRN.com. They are good friends of ours. They work incredibly hard to get good accredited information out to people. And on Wednesdays at later at night around 10 o'clock, 9, 10 o'clock, they start kind of a roundtable discussion, and they have different guests. They've had Unite Ohio, but they've also had people with names on there, different types of researchers, law enforcement, things like that. So FPRN.com, we really appreciate you guys. On behalf of the members of Unite Ohio, Columbus Freedom Rally for God and Country, 3% Patriots, everybody that works with Unite Ohio, from Overpasses for America, which we'll be talking about later, and all of their hard work. All of our different groups, we thank everybody when we know everyone's working so hard, and we thank you for your support as well. Tonight we've got Mr. Michael Loudermilk. He is running for the congressional seat in the 3rd District of Ohio. To give you a little bit of information about him, he started working when he was young, and when he started working, he didn't just get one job, he got 2 while going to school. He was 16 years old. He graduated and started working in management, retail, manufacturing, construction, training, the restaurant business. In his mid-20s, he went back to school. He received an associate's degree in business management. Let me see here. It was when, let me see, you say that you didn't have political aspirations, or you didn't realize them until November 4th, 2008, when President Barack Obama was elected. You said that it was you were in class and you saw the results, and when you won, every fiber of your being was shocked. And it gave you the belief that you could actually make a change and begin to grow and really contribute something different. You're now on a 20-year plan that ends in 2027 with you hopefully running for the White House. But until then, you have been able to, within the 20-year plan, you've received your bachelor's degree in political science and government. You got your master's in organizational management with a specialty in public administration. You've also volunteered in the community at different churches, Habitat for Humanity, Walking Neighborhoods, Goodwill, Mid-Ohio Food Bank. You were able to see that some of the different problems that are faced in the city when you were doing that work. Looks like that was kind of a little bit eye-opening and virtuous. And you talk about you want to definitely get the money out of politics, and talk a lot about unity and the things that can move us forward. I was also going through some of your, I don't know if that it wasn't a mission statement, but it was basically a structured ideal that you had to go putting us back into a better position. And so with that, Mr. Loudermilk, I will give you the floor and allow you to tell us more about yourself and your plans for your congressional seat in Ohio, the 3rd District, and let us know what you're all about.
Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you for having me here tonight. I was a part of the show last night, and I enjoyed, the interaction that you had with the people, because that's what I want to do. I want to be able to interact with the people. So a little bit about me, Jeremy pretty much summed it up. I've been working since I was young. I understand the struggle. I was raised in a single home by my mother, who worked very hard, to try to do the best that she could for me and my sisters. And it's been a struggle, and I understand, people. So, like he said, whenever President Obama actually won his first time, it just that showed me that anything is possible, because all of my life I've heard, that would never happen. You'll never see that in your lifetime. Maybe in your children's lifetime, but never in your lifetime. So it inspired me to actually do something to make a change, to make my world better, and to make the world better for everybody else. So, and that kind of ties into my platform. I mean, I can go through, the bullets with you of what my complete platform is, but you can find that on my Facebook page. It's, it's clearly there for you to read out. But what it basically boils down to is humanity and equal rights for everyone. That includes a plethora of things, from living wage to equality of marriage, a woman's right to choose, our Second Amendment right to arm ourselves if we need to, the right to have a militia, the right to be able to voice our opinions in a way that we can actually change the government that governs us. And, I joined Unite Ohio because beyond what I want to do for the people in this community, in this state, and in this country eventually, I want people to reconnect. I want people to come back together like we used to, so that we can actually start moving forward. It's about progress, and we've always moved forward. It started with the American Revolution, the Civil Rights Movement, the women's voting rights, World War I, World War II. I mean, we all have been a part of the struggle, and if not us, our ancestors. So, that's what being American's about. And being American means that we all come together. At the end of the day, that's what it boils down to. You're not white, you're not black, you're not gay, you're not straight, you're not any of that. You're American. And we stick together as Americans. When it's time to go out and fight, we do that. And that's my little spiel. I don't want to take up all the time tonight. I just wanted to let you guys know a little bit about me. And I'm open to questions. If you have them, I would love to answer them, because I believe the interaction that we have is going to allow you to better understand where I'm coming from, and then make the decision on if you want to help me and going on the path that I've chosen. So.
Now I know that my camera is having issues, but can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay. What I wanted to ask was what are your what's your party affiliation?
Okay.
And what? Hi.
Hey.
Can you see me?
I can see you.
What party is your affiliation, and what separates you from our other candidates that we're going to get the typical Republican, the typical Democrat, and then where do you lie, and then what differentiates you from them?
Okay. That's a perfect question. First of all, I'm running as an independent because I believe that I'm independent from their belief system. And their belief system is I can preach to the people one thing and then I can practice another when I get in office. And that's what I've experienced my entire life from our government. And I don't think that's what people want. I know that's not what I want. So, I have Republican ideas. I have Democratic ideas. But I'm not willing to sell my soul to live in a nice house and drive a fancy car and have a vacation home and take vacations 7 times a year. I'm okay with not doing those things, so that makes me a little bit different than them. When I do start campaigning, which will be in January 2016, I'm going to limit my contributions from the people that donate to $10 because I don't need all that extra money. I need money to make flyers, maybe to pay people to go out and talk to people about what I'm trying to do, maybe even a commercial, but I don't need to raise millions of dollars. I understand people are working families. They don't have money to support, some senator or some representative living in a $300,000 house while they're struggling to make ends meet. Like that just, I don't, it doesn't roll well with me.
I agree. What do you believe is the difference between an independent versus a Republican?
Well, the Republican, like I said, I have some Republican beliefs. I don't believe in excess waste. I believe in accountability. I don't believe that every person is hopeless and should just depend on a wage from their government for the rest of their life. But with that being said, I also think the difference between me and the Republicans are they go extreme with it. Like, we can't reform the welfare system and the Social Security system in order to make sure they're not being abused. We need to cut them completely. That's a bit much. And I think that's the problem with the two-party system is it's either one or the other. There's no happy medium anymore. There's no compromise. There's no in the middle. And we need somebody who's in the middle, who's not afraid to stand up and say, that's who I am, this is where I stand, and this is what I'm willing to do, and I'm not.
I agree. I agree. All right, I want to go through quick 5 questions that most politicians have to answer. All right, quick 5 questions.
Remember, I'm trying to be a statesman, not a politician, so I don't know if I can answer these, but I'll try.
Right, okay. Well, statesmen get the same questions. So. All right, let's, I'll start our timer again. All right. That's our official timer right there.
I like that.
All right, first question. Second Amendment. Do you believe that there is a too much or too little gun control?
Honestly, I think that it's being looked at the wrong way. There's a lot of lobbying from the gun industry, and I don't believe the gun industry really cares about the people that they're selling the guns to. So, as far as trying to regulate it with the gun controls that we are, I don't think it's going to work because we're never going to take away people's rights to arm themselves. That's not going to happen. But if we can do the little simple things like accurate background checks and deal with other issues, like people try to pull in, mental illness. Mental illness and gun control are 2 different things. So you can't lap them together like they try to do now because it's political. Separate the problems out and actually focus on what it is. And what it is do we need to control people using guns? No. Do we need to have laws that make sure that, if you shoot somebody, like obviously we hold you accountable? I mean, we have laws already for that. you know. So as far as trying to control what a person has that aren't to arm themselves, I'm completely okay with that. I mean, do I think you need semi-automatics? Depending on what you're doing, maybe you do. The government seems to need them an awful lot, so I mean, I can't argue with people saying I need the same thing.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's how it was written. All right, so we got to go faster than that,
All
but
right,
all
I
right,
told
good
you I had
job.
to tell you. Sorry.
All right, second question. The Federal Reserve Bank.
Hey, you see my face, right?
Yeah. All right, the Federal Reserve Bank. I need you to get into the whole scheme of it. But what would you do if you had the say, had the power, or as a congressional voice for your state? What if you had the chance to write up legislation as a congressman regarding the Federal Reserve? What would that legislation look like? What would your think tank look like?
What I would ultimately really want to do is shut it down, but understanding how our government works and the ability to be able to compromise, the least I would settle for is a complete audit, period.
All right, good answer here. Let me. All right. All right, third question. Do you believe that marriage equality means anybody can marry anybody? And what do you believe the state's capacity should be when it comes to marriage? Is that something that the state has a proper place because now we've wrapped it up in taxes and things? Or is there more of like a Ron Paul belief that says, what in the hell is the state doing? It's not their business who you love. You know, that was always done with the church. You know, so where do you fall on that?
Well, um, being a gay man, I can say that, this affects me a lot personally. Understanding I want to be a politician, I can separate the two. But like I said, it falls back on my foundation of my platform. I believe in equal rights for everybody. Um, and who a person loves or wants to marry is their right. And I don't think the state has the right to decide if they have that right or not. That's kind of like the civil rights movement. States didn't have that right because that's like ultimately everybody's right to choose. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it. Um, it's
Okay.
I don't want to keep talking because I know I'll go on forever.
All right. I think that's fair enough. And how do you feel about the uh, that Ron Paul belief of taking the state out of marriage?
I mean, that to me seems like an American right. I don't know that it seems like an Ohio right or New York right. It seems like an American right. So taking the states out of the equation would probably be a good thing. I mean, and if we want to go, I can even go like you said. When it comes to the taxes, a part of the civil rights movement, a lot of people don't know, was the commerce. It affected commerce greatly in this country. It's the same thing with marriage equality. A lot of the states are missing out on a lot of money from not allowing people, and it's affecting the commerce of the country. So, I mean, on a intellectual, educational stance, like logically, the law should be follow commerce, like we've always done. But on a federal level, it should be we offer the same equal rights to all people. Period.
Right. All right. I think that was question number four. So, all
All right.
right.
Trying not to
All
be
right.
too long-winded.
What's that?
Trying not to be too long-winded.
Right. Last question. When it comes to the state of, and I just want this to be for Ohio because you're running for the congressional seat in Ohio.
Yes.
Um, when it comes to the state of Ohio, the state of affairs, our statewide economy, race relations, things like that. Where do you put yourself as far as if you have that congressional seat and you have the ability to affect, the first thing, the very first thing, just for our state, what would that be?
That one's hard because there's a lot of problems here. Uh,
Agreed.
their jobs are important, and in order for people to be able to prosper from jobs, a living wage is a real problem to me. It's something that, I've worked those jobs. I know what it's like to live on minimum wage. So if we can begin to make people's lives better in one form or another, and if that is financially, then I think a living wage or at least a better wage would be top priority. I know a lot of people say, well, that would affect jobs, and maybe we wouldn't have as many jobs, but that's not been the case. I've done the research. I've seen states like Washington raise their minimum wage, and business is doing very well. Like the state overall is doing very well. So that's one thing that I think could really help a lot of people right now.
We got an interesting question from one of the fellow organizers. Uh, he wants to know, what is your personal belief as far as, is there a way to live without government? Can humans self-regulate without the governmental structure?
Well,
Which is an interesting question to ask somebody who's running for a congressional seat. I mean, that is really something.
yeah, it's a deep question too. I like that. And that, a lot of my studies for school, I've actually studied a lot of different cultures, a lot of different governments, obviously, all the way back to, civilization actually first came together. And I wouldn't say that we need government, but we have to have some form of community in order to thrive. And that means, we got to have the people that make decisions. We got to have the people that make sure people follow the rules. And it doesn't have to be in the form that we have it now. There are still people, we call them third world country. We say they're the ones that are, archaic, and they're so far back in time, but they still run that way. There's a chief that runs the village, and it's a community. So I don't know if that answers the question, but I guess it does.
Well, yeah, I mean, and there's people in our group that talk about sustainable living communities.
Yes, I'm
Talk
all
about,
about
and I think that's why it's such a big point of interest for people, because they really want to. And I'm not trying to speak for you, Mr. Tiny Smalls, but there's a lot of people that share that notion that say, I really believe in my sovereign right to go and live off of the land and build a small structure on the side of a mountain somewhere. And much like the hippie communes in the 60s, where, they said we can grow our own food, we can, regulate ourselves, things like that. And now the sustainable communities have really taken that a step further, where it's not so much this hippie belief of peace and love, it's look at what the ruling class is doing,
it.
look at the byproduct of what they produce. We have the algae in Lake Erie, the algae in Buckeye Lake, the red algae that is getting ready to hit Mexico. And red algae is known as the death of the ocean,
Right.
and all that comes from pollution.
Yeah.
And so there are people that are really wanting to, they just kind of want to, they want a way. They want a way to get away from our current system. And it doesn't make them any less American. It makes them people that I believe have been able to wake up and see what's going on, and they feel ashamed to be a part of it. Germany went from totally nuclear energy to totally solar energy when the United States was throwing out all this propaganda. It's not possible. It's not possible. So,
Well, I think I'm going to say something that I don't know anybody's ever heard a politician say before, but if there's anybody out there with like 10 to 20 acres that has a nice big farm and wants to grow some food, like I'm not against coming out to help you, like for real. So, I mean, I kind of feel I appreciate, the governor, the government and all that, but I'm not against that either. That's sounds nice to me.
yeah, well, the early Englishmen and Frenchmen that were sent over here to check out our fledgling nation that was still competing with them on all levels of industry and commerce, they found out that, the mountain men that they talked to and their children could all tell them their rights and tell them what was going on in the news, and they could all read and write, and they reported back to France and England that, those are educated folks, and they're also capable. When they don't have anything, they do not ask government. And they all witnessed lines of people standing outside of Masonic lodges, standing outside of churches, and that's where the food banks were, and that's where people, got assistance. They would not rely on government. They refused, and we've got to get back to that.
Okay. I'm not against it. I probably shouldn't say
Yeah, my
that.
computer's doing crazy stuff. It's saying it's telling me it's crashing and responding. All right, yeah, that was a good question. Thank you, Tiny. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Okay. Making
I'm
sure
sorry.
I'm still with you.
I'm just checking the pages.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing too. I'm making sure I'm not missing anybody else's questions. Uh, I read something about this tribe of people and the way that they function and the way that they do things. And I was really amazed to find out, because they don't function through government. And I was just amazed to find out the way that they do stuff. If somebody does something wrong, they all stand around that person for 2 days and tell them how much they love them and all the great things about them. I mean, that's the opposite of what our society does. We're like, you're an idiot, and throw them in jail. All right, Mike, if you want to take over for a second and give us your thoughts on Ferguson, I'm going to hop away and then be back in about 15 seconds.
Okay.
Okay.
So whenever I think about Ferguson, there's two things going on there. The first thing, obviously, is the shooting of a young unarmed man. And you notice I didn't say color in there because it was an unarmed man, young man. And the second problem, obviously, is the militarization of our police and the way that they're out of control. So this is what I don't understand. People keep saying, we hear on the news, why are they down there? They're protesting peacefully during the day and then they get riled up at night. Okay, well, it's been over a week and nobody's been indicted. Like, that to me is a problem. And I can kind of understand why people are getting upset, because I'm getting upset. Like, I feel like I need to go to Missouri and protest too. Because if it was the other way around and the young man had shot the officer, he would have had charges indicted that day. I mean, there wouldn't have been any question if and or buts about it. So we definitely need to see that there needs to be something. We need something. There needs to be some charges brought up, an indictment, something. And I'm not condoning violence or protesting or looting or anything like that. But how much are people supposed to take? At some point, you just get tired. So I'm not condoning it, but I understand it. And I know something needs to be done if we really want to resolve it. and that comes in the form of some charges or some accountability from the city, the police, and the state.
You know, you said something there that really hit home with me, and I'm back, by the way.
Okay.
Where you were saying that, you know, how much are people going to take? You know, how much do you think they can take?
Right.
And that was my point last night, was that it's not like a black man being shot by a white officer is uncommon. It's not.
Right.
It's commonplace in this country, and Missouri is showing the stress of many years of that happening. No? So we got another question here. What would happen if we changed our gross domestic product if it was measured in happiness? Now, the reason why he's asking that is because that's what the country of Bhutan does.
You know,
and go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, a lot of people don't realize, I'm a research. I love research. Like, I don't want to be wrong, so I research everything. And I've done research on the GDP. Do you know that the most corrupt and least democratic countries have the highest GDP, the gross, what's it called? I just forgot, the GDP.
What is that attributed to?
What's that?
What is that attributed to?
Greed. Corporate takeover of government. Exactly what we have here. And I mean, I'll pull the numbers. I'll show you all the information that I researched, and like I was amazed. Like I was reading obviously in a book, and they had led a little bit into it, and then I followed up on the research and started like every country. The higher the GDP, the worse off the country is. So to measure it in happiness, we would have to flip-flop everything in this country to even make that work, because we do the total opposite.
Do we get rid of the Federal Reserve and then just start dealing in happiness and see where it takes us then?
As much as the Federal Reserve has done to this country, I'd be willing to try it.
Yeah, it couldn't get much worse, could it?
Right. I mean, go from worse to somewhat better. No, somewhat worse. I don't know how that even works.
Let me ask you, as an aspiring statesman, what are your feelings on a well-regulated militia?
I definitely. It's kind of hard to answer that in today's environment, how things are, because it seems like we need it more today than we ever did before, which is kind of crazy because I think it started out a little differently than that. And so I completely support it. I mean, I don't support anything. I'll just tell everybody now, anything outrageous, I don't know that I really support that. Like, too outrageous. I might get a little outrageous, but so I definitely support militias, and I think they can be a big help to this country. Like you were talking about them at the border. That's just one example of how they can help. Hope I could say that.
Yeah, I think that kind of leads into my next question is when they become applicable, when is it prudent to mobilize the militia?
Well, I would say that that's not a decision that we should make lightly. It shouldn't be at a whim of something. And I'm not trying to downplay events that happen, but like what's happening in Missouri right now, I don't know that is a call for it. If things escalate, possibly. I think you have to take each situation and understand the situation in order to understand if that's necessary. So just to make a blanket statement and say, well, you can use it this time or this time, I don't know that that's fair to me, and that's what politicians do. So I don't want to do that. I want to leave it up to case by case, and if we needed it, that I would be willing to make that decision to say, hey, you know, we might need to do this now.
Yeah, I agree. I think using discretion is the best medicine. Let me see if we have anybody from Overpasses from America with us, because if so, I want to talk to them about that lawsuit. Um, I also invited March for Monsanto, and I'm looking up now. Can't tell if I'm seeing live shots or not. Breaking news. New protests in Ferguson. You know, they're using long-range acoustical devices against citizens, and that really upsets me. The whole purpose for us to be able to have a Second Amendment was to be able to defend ourselves. And wow, we're getting word that militia are hearing over the line. They just heard them say Green Berets, WTF, and they're talking about the Ferguson situation.
I'll be right back.
Okay. Yeah, I want to be able to get good information out there, and it looks like, yeah, they were saying something about Green Beret, and of course, mainstream media goes to commercial to tell us about a cashback card.
Yeah, isn't that nice? I like that too.
Yeah, just as we're getting this in, they switch over. All right, we may go through this one quickly tonight. If you were a sitting congressman that was on a border state, what would you do concerning the border?
Well, I definitely believe that we need to secure the border, but I know that under Bush there was $10 billion to secure it, to build a fence, and the fence is like 22 miles long. So I know there's a lot of politics in that too, which, you know, falls back on we need to get money out of politics so we can have real people making real decisions that actually affect change. I believe in legal citizenship. I don't believe we should be a catch-all for everybody that needs to escape what's going on in their country. Um, yeah, having the statute that we do, we should be able to help and assist people. And I don't have a problem doing that. But I don't think that allowing all these people to come into our country and to use resources that are not even available to maybe citizens that live here, it's kind of problematic. So I would definitely want to get the border secure. I would definitely want to work on immigration reform that ensures there is a legal path to citizenship, but also ensures that we're not just letting anybody in, no matter what the situation is they're coming from. You know, that's something that on a diplomatic level needs to be handled between the federal government and their country in order to get those people back to where they belong. And if they want to be legal citizens, they have every right to do that the legal way. But our citizens have too much on their, you know, to carry now. There's too much burden on the people we have here, so the focus needs to be on the people here more than on other people.
I agree. It's not sustainable. It hurts us. It's not a good idea.
Right. And I respect that we're a country built on immigration. You know, my family came here from Germany, so of course I appreciate that. But like I said, it needs to be a process that works.
All right, and our last two things. Your thoughts on ISIS beheading an American?
Well, ISIS, for me, goes all the way back to Syria, and the fact that we like to be involved in all the things that we do in the Middle East, yet we aren't involved in Syria. Over 100,000 people have died. Over, I want to say, 1 million people have been displaced. We knew about this. We knew they were a growing threat. We didn't do anything then. We continued to let them grow, get back into Iraq, um, and now we're dealing with the fallout of that. And I think that's a failure on our foreign policy. Our foreign policy, to me, seems all over the place. Like there is no real objective to get anything done that actually works. But it falls back again to money in politics. When politicians have campaign supporters who are involved in companies like Halliburton or other companies that make, you know, military equipment, it benefits us to be everywhere, even if we're only there to cause more chaos. And these are the results of those kind of policies.
Yeah, agreed. That's a good answer. Uh, I feel a bit differently about it, but um, I still think that's well thought out. And Israel, Gaza, I want to start us on this one. Um, Israel, Gaza, my opinion is that none of our opinions matter until we get control of our government. So, what's your opinion?
Well, first of all, when it comes to foreign policy in general, I don't believe the United States should police the world. I believe we have the United Nations, NATO, other international organizations that are supposed to deal with international problems. That being said, I kind of agree with you. Like, how can we be involved in that issue when people are losing their homes here? Like, vets are losing their homes here. Banks are evicting vets. You know, that weighs heavy on me. You know, I know people that have lost their homes and have been through that struggle. So, yeah, I'm kind of with you on that one. And that kind of, is for foreign policy all around the world. We have international organizations for a reason. Yes, we should have a voice in those, organizations, but we don't need to lead them all the time. It's destroying us.
I agree. I agree. We've gone through the our list of questions, and I wanted you to be able to say before we close. I want to say that we're hugely supported by FPRN.com. A bunch of friends of ours. They do a radio show where they help try to bring the truth out, and they really support us, and we thank those guys. FPRN.com. Before we head out, I want you to be able to tell if there's not something that we've covered about you and why people should support you when you go to take your petitions around to get, I think it was 5,000 signatures?
Yep.
Okay. When you go to do that, why should they put their John Hancock down for you?
Very good question, and I'm glad you asked it, so thank you. Um, I I'm an average guy. You know, I've worked since I was old enough to work. I've been through the struggle. I know what it's like to go hungry. I know what it's like to be homeless. I understand what it's like to work at a unfair wage, and I mean I've worked at a decent wage too, but I understand what it's like to work, at a lower wage. I know how it is to be a minority, not just once, twice, because being black and gay. Um, I really feel a connection with people. I really feel like I have been in their shoes, and I think that's what people want. They want somebody they can relate to, that can say, you know what, I know, I understand where you're coming from. I know, you know, maybe you're short on your bills this month, and you got to borrow money, or you got to do this or that. I know what that's like, and I think people, that realness can connect. And I'm not like a politician. I'll never be like a politician. I don't have a lot of friends with money. I don't come from money myself. I didn't go to an Ivy League school. I went to a low no-name school that nobody really knows about, but I did that. And I hope that the things that I've done and the things that I've been through and the things that I've experienced and the things that I've shared with people will connect them enough to me to where they feel like, you know what, this guy just might be the one to actually change something. And I think if I stay true and honest to who I am and where I stand, and ethically and morally, and I think people will see that and they'll be like, "This is a good guy. I'm gonna vote for him. He's gonna be the one."
All right. All right. I like hearing that.
I like hearing that.
All right, man. Well, I wish you all the luck, and I appreciate the help, and I think we'll be able to get probably 4,999 signatures.
That'll work.
And then that just means I'll have to actually register to vote. And then.
And I wasn't gonna tell you yet, but that's ultimately my goal. So. And then you can say I'm your first. Like, he's the first one I voted for.
Hey, I've never voted, and if we could get, I tell you what, we get the 5,000 signatures, and I might register to vote so that I can vote for you, maybe.
All right, I'll take that right now.
Okay, all right, good deal. Cool. Yeah, I really appreciate you, man, and I know we'll be doing more of these. I'll check one last time to see if I missed any of the other questions. Appreciate Tiny.
I really appreciate you doing this.
Yeah, well, this helps quite a few people.
Cool.
So.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah, anytime we can get good information out there.
Yes.
So, all right, man. Thank you again, and we will probably do this sometime around the weekend. I think we have an event on the 31st of this month. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, and that's is that still at the State House?
The last I saw it was.
Okay. All right, cool. So 31st, State House, Unite Ohio, Mr. Michael Loudermilk, and we appreciate everybody. Thank you for your time.
Have a good night, everybody.